Hi, I'm Jess.
Hi, I'm Kristen.
And welcome to Rediscover, a space where we engage in authentic conversation about life as we grow through it and whatever comes up along the way.
Nothing is off the table here. We talk about the real stuff, the hard stuff, the beautiful moments, and everything under the sun.
Around here, we're always rediscovering, sharing empowering stories, and connecting our hearts and minds with every facet of life.
We invite you to be part of the conversation as we broaden our perspectives, release limitations, and grow to create our most joyful and fulfilling lives together.
So grab a cup of something cozy as we rediscover all the best parts of you
And bring a little magic into your day.
Hi everyone, I'm Jess.
Hi, I'm Kristen.
And welcome back to this month's episode of Rediscover.
Happy spring, everybody.
Oh my gosh, it's finally here.
I could cry.
I feel like we were just talking about the snow.
I know. I feel like we do a little weather update now. Like, that's the way we start each episode.
Rediscover is about Buffalo weather updates
Yes.
through the seasons.
I mean, it was thunderstorming like 20 minutes ago, and now it's just windy.
The funny thing is today is April Fool's Day when we're recording this, and
Yes.
this morning I went outside. I
was
went
sunny.
to the park with Penny, and you know, it was beautiful, blue skies. And then my mom called and was like, "There's a thunderstorm coming," and she's pretty notorious for pulling an April Fool's joke. And I was like, "Okay, like, is this a joke?" She's like, "No, seriously." And I was like, "Haha, okay, it's literally so sunny out right now." And then Kristen came over and it started thunderstorming.
I brought the thunder.
Oh my god. So
I can't believe I just said that. I did not. It was definitely already in the forecast. Yeah, I feel like Buffalo pulled a Florida. Like this random isolated thunderstorm just swept right on through.
yeah. So
But it's okay, because either way, like, it was sunny this morning. It was like 59 degrees, and then the thunderstorm rolled in. Like, this feels like spring to me. Like, I'll take it.
yeah.
I'll take anything that's not freezing cold and gray skies. So, thank you so much.
Yes. That's where we're at here. There's your weather update. We'll keep it shorter today. And
we won't ramble for 20 minutes about the weather. Just a minute and a half. So,
That's it.
how the heck are you?
Well,
You were just in
I
California.
was just in California. We haven't even talked about that.
I know. Well, that's great, because we accidentally talked about a lot of things for the last hour and a half.
So we thought we should start recording. But
Yeah.
California was amazing. I feel very rejuvenated after that trip.
Good.
It was physically like very exhausting in the moment because we just had a really early flight and then we took a red eye home, and then every day was like full park day, wedding, driving back to Anaheim, 2 more park days. You know, it was like full every day.
Where was the wedding?
In Topanga, California. It was actually, if you guys remember, Sarah Catherine, our first guest on Rediscover. Sarah got married, so I went to the wedding, and it was so beautiful.
It looked really beautiful. She looked really beautiful.
Yeah.
I loved her dress.
Oh my gosh, she was glowing. But the wedding was at this place. It was called Inn of the Seventh Ray in Topanga, and it was like a fairy garden. Like, you walked in, there were just trees everywhere, twinkle lights infused. Like, there was even a little creek going by.
Oh my gosh,
And
that sounds like a dream.
California is usually, I mean, notoriously dry, right? But there was rain, so the creek was flowing. Like, it was just magical. And it was so, like, everyone was so happy. And it was a really nice size. Like, it wasn't so big you couldn't, like, see the bride and the groom. Like,
I like that.
We got to hang out. And
I like that, yeah.
it was really, really nice. So it was just so worth the flight. And
I love that. And you caught the bouquet, I saw.
oh my God. Yeah, I did. That was exciting.
I saw it on Steven's story. He was like, she caught it. I was like, did she?
Did she know? Yes. It was pretty funny. I like thought Sarah rigged it because like I was kind of like in the middle, whatever. And I was like, oh, she must have thrown it right to me. But no, she had no idea. So it was just meant to be.
Wow.
I know. So that was really fun.
I'm sorry. I'm just
choking on
my iced tea.
But no, it was really great. And
for the record, I wasn't choking. That was like a subtle nod to just catching the bouquet.
Yeah. So, anyways,
I'm not in any weddings this year, and it's very weird to me. I'm just saying.
Wow.
I know. I'm attending weddings, but I'm not in any.
Honestly, I mean, I love being in weddings, but I love being a guest. It's just so
It depends. I guess it depends on, like, if it's a person
fun.
I'm, like, close with, I'm like, no, I want to be in your wedding.
Right.
But if it's someone that I'm, like, I know from work or something like that, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah.
Good times all around.
It's always a fun time.
It's good to do both. I think having 3 in 3 months that I was in last summer was, like, that was a lot.
Yeah.
That was a lot. But
it's a lot of traveling.
I loved it. I loved every single one.
I mean, every single wedding that I've gone to is such a different vibe, and I love that. I think I love seeing the venue. I think that's, like, my number one favorite thing.
Interesting.
And then, obviously, the dress is really big.
I love seeing the dress.
The dress is really exciting.
I'm so into the dress.
The food's always fun to see, like, what you eat.
I am so, like, about wedding food. I always just feel like wedding food is just notoriously mediocre.
I don't know. It won't be at mine, don't worry.
No, I don't believe that it will. How was Sarah's wedding food?
It was really good.
Really? Okay.
You know what they did that was unique was they got a donut instead of a cake.
I saw that and I was like, oh, that's brilliant.
It was really, really good. Like, it was a good quality donut. But I thought that was a really cool idea. Because,
it was a big donut, you guys.
Yeah. Like, it was like a cake-sized donut, essentially. And
just the one donut.
And there was also, like, a wall of spokes and they had donuts on them.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's cool.
It was cute. There were just a lot of personal touches. And yeah, I just love to see how the personality of the people getting married is reflected into the wedding.
Yeah, I think that's the thing I love the most.
Yeah.
It's just like seeing how it becomes.
Yeah. And I think the more authentic it is to the person, the better the wedding is because it's just little sprinkles here and there of their personality showing through. Like my friend Erica when she got married and the way that she had her little headpiece and her beading along the back of her dress.
Freaking dress.
And then she was
amazing.
Singing on stage with a band. That was so her. Yeah. And I thought that was really, really cool to see her personality shine through in that way. Right. So I don't know. I've been to a lot of weddings lately. Yeah. And I have another one next month. But it's just it's so much fun.
I don't have one until July, I think. So weird. Like everyone got married.
I have another
one.
I
think I attended like 6 weddings last year, and I think this year I have like 1.
I think we missed 6 weddings last year, and we've gone to 2 already since 3 already since being back.
Like, she's back.
Oh my gosh! And then I have another one, and then another one in July. It's so fun though.
Yeah, it's fun. I really do love wedding season. People are like, oh my god. So no, I think it's so fun. Fun to find something to wear. I'm an old soul in that I would love for there to just be an occasion where like we could just get dressed up and go dancing. Yeah. Like not like
get together.
Not like strobe lights in a nightclub, but like wearing a dress.
Yeah.
And like a cute pair of heels. And going actual dancing.
It's fun.
And I feel like a wedding is the only occasion where I get to do that. Like get all fancy and like dance the night away with like people you like or maybe meet new people. Like it's just a fun, like it's the only occasion where you really get to do anything like that, and I think it's so much fun.
It's so much fun, like to meet like your wedding crew too, like whoever's there and you like click with the guests and then you just have a little crew by the end of the night. Like I think that's such a blast.
And I will say like the 3 weddings I was in last summer, I walked away from all 3 of those with like so many new friends because all of those bridesmaids were like just great people. I'm literally going to one of Allie's bridesmaids' weddings in July.
Oh, that's so cool.
She invited like all of us. So we're all really getting to go and now we're like, oh, reunion, and we're all getting to see each other again, and like you know, a few of the people that were in Allie's wedding are also in hers, so like they'll be there. And I'm like, oh, that's like, I feel like I just came out with like actual friends from that experience. And I think it's so cool that the occasion of like coming together to celebrate one person who you all really care about can culminate in like you also becoming friends with those people, because it's a very unique experience. I think it's cool. I'm pro wedding.
Yeah. Oh, it's so much fun.
I mean, if I'm also pro elopement, if that's your thing. But I am definitely someone who's like always loved wedding. But I also have like this huge family, and growing up, I have a lot of cousins that are older than me. So I was like little-ish when they got married. So I was like the kid running around like seeing how many, like the younger cousins, we would all like have a contest to see how many Shirley Temples we could drink. Oh my god! And like we were out on the dance floor with all the grown-ups and like having a good time. And it was never like, I remember my first experience with a wedding that was like the kids aren't allowed at the reception. I was like, what?
What do you
And
mean?
I was old enough at that point that I wasn't excluded, but I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like that was not a thing that I thought was, I don't know, it's just like a fun thing to get everyone's family and friends together. I think it's great.
Yeah. It's a blast.
I'm looking forward to yours whenever it happens.
Thanks. Same for you.
Yay.
But
it'll be a good time.
Yeah.
Yay, weddings. Yay, Sarah. Congratulations.
Congrats, Sarah. We love you. And, you know, everyone else who's gotten married that is happened this year. Christy, Erica, Priscilla's coming up. My cousin Justine's coming up.
I can't believe Justine is getting married.
I know.
I cannot believe it.
It's going to be a fun one. I haven't had, like, a family wedding, like, within my direct, you know, little bubble of cousins before. So that's a first, and that's exciting.
True. That's wild.
That's what we are literally evolving all of our travel plans around that.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
And I think it's just going to be a blast.
Oh
so I actually
I'm so excited for
need to figure out what I'm going to wear.
Justine.
I know.
Speaking of old moments, I just RSVP'd yes to my 10-year high school reunion yesterday.
Oh, wow.
A couple of people are planning it. They just, like, made a Facebook group about it, and they were like, here are the people we couldn't find. And I was like, okay.
That's so funny.
Yeah, why not?
I went out to get dinner. I think I told you this, but I went out to get dinner with 2 friends from high school. Mm-hmm. And it was so funny because I haven't seen the one girl in 10 years.
Yeah.
And then the other one I'm close to. But so funny because when the 3 of us got together, it was like we were bringing up all these memories and, like, you know, remembering all these people from our class. And it feels, number 1, like a different lifetime.
Yep.
Or number 2, kind of like a television show. Like, there were characters involved. Yeah. Like, oh my gosh, like all these crazy antics. Yes. And they just, it kind of eternally lives in time where, you know, you remember these things about these people and these situations that happened. And it's just a closed book at this point. But it like lives in the memory eternally. I thought it was so funny. Like, I loved that person. Like, I wonder what happened to them. And it's cute. So I hope you have fun getting... Like, you had such a good class.
I know.
I loved your class of people from high school. So that'll be really fun to see them.
I know. I told, like, Anthony about it, and he was like, oh, do you want to go? I was like, yeah I'm sorry. I had, like, a weirdly positive high school experience. Yeah. I'm realizing the older I get and the more, like, people I meet how anomalous this is. I genuinely didn't have a bad time. Like, I enjoyed it immensely. I was very sad for it to be over.
I know. I think that, too, is why I had so much trouble leaving high school. Like, that's when I kind of had my... Like,
we both had, like, a breakdown.
Yeah, I had, like, the most anxiety, like, right when I left high school to go to college. And I was like, oh, my God, why do I feel so horrible? But I think it was because, like, our high school experience was really wonderful.
Yeah, it was.
And, like, it had its ups and downs and all of that. But, like, I was just so present the whole time. I was never worried about the future. I was just, like, daydreaming, wasn't really stressed about anything. No. Just, like, my biggest concern was, when are these classes going to be over so I can go to musical practice? Like, are we going to go to Panera
after school before practice?
It was so fun. And we had really good people.
Yeah.
We were lucky. And our high school doesn't even exist anymore.
I know.
So.
Literally, all I have left of it is a brick.
Yeah. So.
That's all I got.
It's sad. But you know what? It served us at its time. And
It did. And
it was good.
Yeah, I didn't think we were going to have one. And then I got this, like, Facebook invite, and a couple of people, like, took the initiative to... They like, still live here. Because I was like, I can't really plan something. Like, I don't live here. I'm here a lot, but I feel like it's harder to do. And then Allie was like, so should we go? I was like, I think we should go. Yeah, so she's like, all right, I'll come to Buffalo. So she's going to fly in for it. Oh my gosh,
she's flying in.
Yeah, she's coming.
Fun.
So it'll be fun. Yeah.
I'm
cool looking forward to it.
It's cool to see who stayed friends too, like, and who sees each other over time. Because I think, I mean, I stayed friends with you, Vicky, and Alicia. Yeah. And that's it. So
wild. Yeah.
Is there anyone else? Not... I mean, like, I've seen people in passing, but, like, that I see consistently.
I mean, but I never see Vicky, but I still consider her my friend. Yeah. Like, I still love her to bits. I would still stand in traffic for her.
Yeah.
And the cutest babies.
I know, they're so cute.
But, yeah, I mean, as far as people from my class, because, fun fact, Jess and I were not in the same class.
No.
I mean, the Alleys, both of the Alleys for sure. And then I still talk to, like, Anne from time to time.
Oh my God, queen.
Still talk to her. She's like a marathoner. She's so cool. I don't know. There's like a few people I like talk to here and there, but I definitely don't see them often. But part of that, like, it's just kind of like if we would, it'd be like we were picking up right where we left off.
Yeah.
It's but like life gets away from it. I'm like, the one girl who's organizing it, I like messaged her about it. I was like, I'm talking to someone I've literally not seen in 10 years, and we're, like, making plans.
Yeah.
Like, so when I was on my, no, it wasn't when I was on my college program. It was the year after. So I was just working at Disney. They had, like, a trip.
Yeah.
7 or 8 of them came down, and they, like, got this, like, vacation home or whatever. And, we, like, made plans to meet up. So I met up with Sarah and Jenna the one day, and then I met up with, like, all of them the next day, and we, like, spent the whole day. It was really fun. I, like, took them to Enchanted Tales. I wasn't working, but I was just with them in the park, so I took them in, and they, like, got to be little parts in it, and I was like, this is my two worlds colliding. Like, Sarah Lipinski, who I used to be in musicals with, is now, like, coming to see this show at Disney that I get to be a part of. So yeah, it was very cool.
It's cool that we had that bridge time, like, right after high school going into college, where we could, you know, it was still early enough where we were still sort of friends with people,
right?
Like, people could come down and visit.
Yeah,
It's cool.
It was really cool. So, but I feel like I haven't seen most people. I mean, when my sister would do, like, musicals, and some people would go back to see it, I would, like, run into people there, right. But for the most part, I haven't seen most of them in 10 years. They were running down the list of, like, people who don't have Facebook, and I was like, I forgot about her. Like, there were a couple people, the names that I was just like, oh my God, I completely forgot this person existed.
I know.
So it'll be cool. It'll be interesting to see. Like, I'm very much looking forward to, like, what's everyone doing now? Where are you at? What does your life look like? Who's married? Who's not? I mean, I feel like everyone gets, I don't care who's married or who's not for that reason. I feel like high school reunions have this
more so
sort
just,
of, like,
curious,
right. I feel like there is all this pressure, like, oh, I have to, like,
have my
be
life
at a
together.
certain, right.
Who cares?
And I think that's, like, the beautiful thing about the high school experience we had is, like, I don't think anyone's gonna care. I really think it's just gonna be like, oh, hey, how are you?
Yeah,
like what's going on?
Been up? Yeah. It was really cool because the one girl that we went out to dinner with that I, you know, hadn't seen in 10 years, I actually went to go get my nails done, which I never even do, like, anymore, because, like, I just kind of stopped once we were traveling, but I was going to a wedding, and I went to go get them done, and I walked in, and she was just sitting there, but I was like, oh my God, Caitlin, like, what are you doing here? I hadn't seen her in 10 years. She was a valedictorian of her class, so, like, you know, I was so curious to see what she was up to, but
what is she up to?
She has a business.
Of course she does.
Of course she does. She's an entrepreneur, like, female empowerment type business, which is so her.
How instrument of positive change of her.
It very. And, like, her and her sister work together. Like,
That's amazing.
It's beautiful. Like, we were getting our nails done and just talking, like, a million miles an hour because we were really good friends in high school.
Yeah.
And we just hadn't, you know, seen each other in 10 years. And it was really amazing because you have this relationship with somebody for 4 years. You just are going through the same classes, through the same thing, whatever. And, like, especially in high school, you think, like, oh my gosh, these people are going to go off and do something someday. And someday is here.
Now it's someday.
Yeah. And it's just, it was incredible to see her and reconnect and stuff. And I think the nails ladies were really annoyed with us because we were just talking so much.
Whatever.
But I was like, whatever, it's fine. I haven't seen her in so long. But it was really cool. And I don't know. I love it. I love that kind of stuff. And I think I'm realizing how much time has gone by in the past, like, couple years. I think after COVID especially happened, and after
we all, like, got our bearings again.
Yeah. And it's been interesting. So I was telling you this, but I have spent the last few weeks going through all of my photo library because, as we all know, if you've listened to previous episodes, I have, like, 200,000 photos and videos on my iCloud.
Not an exaggeration.
No, like, literally, do you want to know the number? I'll tell you I delete it.
I'll tell you mine, because I thought this was a lot, and I remember we did this one day, and I was like, oh, I have 86,000, like, photos and videos on my phone. And you said...
Are you doing the combined number?
Photos and videos, combined 86,000.
Yeah, so I currently have 223,116.
Oh my gosh.
So, but that is from 2010 to now, which is still a lot considering, but I decided, like, I was like, before we go back out and start whatever in our next phases, I need to get these off of my iCloud, and... because it's just too heavy.
You put them on a hard drive.
So I'm going to tell you guys what I did, because this was what I was trying to figure out for a long time, how to do this.
This is helpful.
Yeah. So I had everything in my iCloud. I was paying for 2 terabyte storage.
I also pay for 2 terabytes of storage.
Yeah, which, you know, is fine. I might still continue to do that, but it depends on, like, how much I kind of condense.
Yeah.
However, I decided to have 2 different backups. I might do a third, but I haven't decided what that is. But the 2 that I have right now is I got Google Photos.
Okay.
Which is really great. That was recommended by Taylor, Gingerbread Couture.
Shout out.
Yes. Code Jess508. But, so she recommended...
How much does that code get you off, Jeff?
10%. But she recommended getting Google Photos, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. I never thought of doing that, but I like it because it keeps everything very chronological, just like iCloud does.
Yep. Need that.
And if I want to access my photos, I can just go on the Google Photos app and find it the same way I could in the iCloud one.
Can you also find by location? Like the geotags?
I wonder.
Because
let's take a look.
That is like a fun, nice feature that I really like about like just keeping them on my phone, is like being able to search a location and being like, show me all the pictures I have.
Yeah, so there's a pretty, here, look, places. So there's a pretty extensive search option, which is really, really nice. Oh yeah, I've got Orlando, Chicago, Clearwater, Vancouver, like all these places.
That's so nice.
So I liked that because I thought, Google Photos would be my alternative without having to have them straight up on my phone like this, and it's more of a storage backup.
Yeah.
And then my other thing is I got a SSD drive.
Okay.
Which is like an external hard drive, and backed them up there. And this was kind of a process because I was trying to drag them from Photos to the drive, and it was going all out of order. And I was like, this is horrific. Like, what am I going to do? But I did a little Google searching. I finally figured it out. But you have to go into... I'm going to, look at it right now so I can say this. I just feel like this is information I needed to know. Yeah. So I'm sharing it. So when you're in your photos, you go to File, and you go to Export. And then you go to Export Photos. And then you click Sequential, so it goes in numbered order. And then you name it whatever. So I've been doing it by month and year and having photos of every month within a year folder. So it's very organized. So I'll have 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, whatever.
Oh my God.
And then within that it's January 2011, February 2011, whatever. So everything's really organized.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to do 10 years per drive because that's enough. But essentially, short version, Google Photos and an external hard drive, SSD drive specifically. I can link the one I used in the show notes if anyone's interested. Sometimes it goes on sale too. But that's been a huge project, but something that's very crucial. And I'm very excited to have less photos in my iCloud.
Yeah.
I just feel like it slows down
everything.
My Lightroom or when I'm trying to edit videos or anything, it slows things down.
Yeah.
It hasn't been impossible because I've been doing it for so long, but it's gotten to be too much. So
yeah.
No,
that's super helpful.
Yeah, so you didn't know you were going to learn something today, but try and back up your photos, everyone, because if you lose them, it's a nightmare.
Devastating.
Yeah. It's very important to have our photos backed up at least on 2 different places. I would say 1 digital copy and 1 tangible copy.
Yeah.
Because if you put stuff on a drive and then all of a sudden technology changes in 10, 20 years, it's what if that plug doesn't go in anymore? So you need to make sure, you have it somewhere digital.
Yeah.
So that was a big lesson. But besides the technical aspect of that whole thing, the emotional aspect of going through photos from 2010 to now has been insane.
13 years of photos.
I saw lots of pictures of baby Kristen.
Oh my God, no.
And me. But it's been...
How embarrassing.
You know what, though? It was a weirdly healing experience. Yeah. I feel like I had to sit with younger me and, look at all of the cringe and look at all of the, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Yeah. And I'm just you know what? Everything that she did got me to where I am today.
It's true.
And she was having fun. She was doing the best.
We loved our purple eyeshadow.
We loved our purple eyeshadow, our pink bedroom walls, our
God.
Cheetah print bed comforter, all these funny things.
It's so funny.
And it's wild. And I just remember the emotions from different eras of my life. And it was just so weird, but so cool. But again, it's that high school thing we were just talking about. These things or these seasons of life, they just kind of live eternally in the memory, and they're just kind of they just sit there.
Yeah.
And it's these people you haven't even talked to in 5-10 years, and it's like, oh my God, I love them so much, but I literally haven't talked to them in forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a really healing experience. And I don't know, it was kind of hard too, because it's like, oh man, like there were some stinging emotions back then, or like this happened and that was uncomfortable and painful.
Yeah.
And you know, I got through it on the other side, but at the time, like I just didn't know where the path was going or what was happening. And it was just, it's very insightful.
Yeah. It's funny that like the concept of like almost like spring cleaning. Like cleaning things out, it also just brings a lot of things up.
Yes.
At the same time, but it's sort of, you feel lighter on the other side of it. But yeah, that's a lot of life to filter through. Yeah. And you capture everything. I mean, you probably have more photos of me than I have of me.
No, I'm a documenter.
Yeah.
And I think I just had this belief when I was young, like, to savor the moment, like, this is it, like, this is all we're getting, like, whether, you know.
That's all we got.
This is it. Like, whether you're on a vacation or you're in a musical or you're, like, hanging out with friends, it's like, the only thing that's consistent in life is change, right? So
yeah, that's very true.
Whether me taking photos of everything is, like, coping with that daunting fact or I'm just, like, creating a tangible memory, it's probably a little bit of both, but I think it's cool to have that to look back on because honestly, if I don't take a picture of it, I'm not going to remember it.
Yeah, I'm that way too.
Holy
especially
cow,
with little things. I'm like, I want to remember this like little thing that's happening. Like, whatever it is, like something silly that I'm like, oh, look, that's funny or whatever. I'm like, okay, well, I want to have some documentation of it just because I want to be able to like recall it. And you can never relive a moment as authentically as you experience it the first time, but if I can like feel that like little glimmer of joy again, like why would you not give yourself. I think there's a fine line though. I think there's a difference between like being someone who documents everything and like forgetting to be in the moment as it's happening.
Absolutely.
I think that's a thing that like I think it's a thing I struggle with. I think a lot of us do though, especially in this like age of social media and sharing everything. Where do you draw the line between okay, I'm just going to be here, I'm going to be present, I'm going to enjoy it, and, like, well, I also want to document and share these moments, too.
Yeah, it's something that I've tried to grapple with, too, because I feel very present when I am collecting, like, photos and videos, and I try to kind of, you know, especially if I'm filming, like, let's just say a fireworks show for, you know, example purposes, but I try to, like, watch the actual show and just, like, have my phone up there.
Yeah.
But I think that's why I struggle with posting in a certain time frame because I want to be able to sit down and just focus on it and do it, but that's where I kind of snowball and get behind is because I'm just trying to be so present and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I like to have all the photos and all the videos collected, but actually posting them on social media is sometimes the hardest part because I don't want to, you know, miss out on what's going on in the moment.
Yeah. I think I'm not, well, I just don't post that much in general anymore, but it's pretty much since I left Disney, honestly. Like, okay, nothing that interesting is happening. But also at the same time, I'm like, I don't really feel like, it has to feel like I want to share something. Like, to me, it's more about that I have something to say than I have, like, something that I want people to see. Yeah. If that makes sense. Like, it's so funny because it's, like, such a visual platform, but, like, Instagram, like, photos and videos, like, it's, to me, more about what I'm telling you than, like, what the picture or the video is showing you.
Yeah.
I am like that notorious like holding on for dear life to the dying age of like please read the caption. Like I always want you to read the caption because that's the thing I care about. Like that's where my personality is, but it's not about what you're seeing. It's about what I'm trying to say. But I do think that if like I were to post something from like a vacation or something, it's like, here's this thing that happened a week ago. Yeah. Slide through the photos.
Yeah.
I don't want to, I just want to be present while it's happening. I don't want to, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to like stop
on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I've been using this app since 2011 or 12, whenever it came out, and it's been a chronological feed of my life since then. Mm-hmm. So I feel... Yeah. I don't know. I just, like, don't want to stop
It's like
now.
your digital album. Yeah.
It is fair. Like a digital scrapbook. Yeah. And But it is interesting though how it's evolved over time. Like from like the way that I approach it now is like my photos are my digital scrapbook. It's still very chronological. It goes in order, whatever. But I feel like with Reels, I can kind of post in whatever order because there's just no pressure there because it's so much newer.
Right.
I still think in chronological order, like it was 10 years ago, but I don't know. I don't feel super called to do like a fancy feed or whatever, like a lot of people do these days. It's just, I don't know. I would have to have a whole different photo stream for that, but I don't want to run another account because it's so much work. But anyway, I feel like we all have our different approaches to social media nowadays.
I think for me, it's just like it has to feel authentic, or I'm just
Don't
again, if there's a visual that like helps me to convey something that I've been thinking about lately, or something that I'm observing, or whatever, like something that I'm noticing, like I am so much more effective with my words than any like visual. Like, I'm not a visual person. Any, like, visually creative thing. And I think I'm getting better at it as I'm, like, having to, like, force myself to be.
I think you are very visually creative.
Thanks. Coming from you, that's a lot. That's saying a lot.
No, I really do.
But I think that, like, at the end of the day, like, I'd rather write a book than make a movie kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, not that I'm not writing a book yet.
She should.
I will eventually. But sometimes an Instagram caption reads like a novel and no one reads it because it's so long.
It's okay. It's more for you. I think that's the thing.
It's like also like I'm getting something out of my brain. It's almost like my Instagram has become like a journal for me.
Yeah.
And like when I have something that I feel like I need to like say, if it's not something that feels like super personal that I like write in a journal that's for me, I put it there, and that way
more of like a
somebody
collective
else
message
finds it and it resonates, and like occasionally it does, like people say something, but I'm really not doing it for the like purpose of like everyone being like, oh my gosh, yes, preach. Like most of the time what I'm saying isn't something that you're gonna, I feel like social media a lot now with like messaging, and I say this not as a criticism, but like someone's like, this is the most impactful thing you're going to hear all day. And then it's like on a reel or a TikTok or something. And then they're saying something that's supposed to like trigger you or jar you, or like, this is going to change the whole way you see the world. And it's all these really like, I don't know, just like, I don't want to say dramatic, but like these like these bold statements. And I'm not that person. Like I'm someone who like, when I write, you sort of have to dig through it like a little bit, because it's not meant to mean the same thing to everyone. Like I'm writing something that is supposed to make you stop and like say, okay, what does that mean for me, or what does that look like in my life, because I want you to like see yourself in it, if that makes sense. I don't want to just be like, this is how it is, kids. Like I'm not that black and white, the world is not that black and white. And so I have realized like that is my writing style as I've gotten older, and if Instagram has helped me to realize that, then that's a great thing. But yeah, I think it's cool though how like everyone does have their own approach to it. I think as long as you don't get caught into the like, oh my god, I have to play the algorithm game, so I have to do these things, I have to post these trends, whatever. And not to say that that's a bad thing if you make it your own, but
I think when it's energy, really limiting. When the energy becomes very desperate on the algorithm, like that's a sticky place to be. Yeah. They just did this Instagram creator like meeting the other day, and I was seeing posts about it, but like a lot of it was just like, it's not really the algorithm, it's like the type of content you're producing. Yeah. And I don't know, I would rather take ownership for it. And it's like, you know what, if whatever I'm putting out there isn't performing quote unquote well, like who cares? Like, I mean, obviously it matters if you're trying to grow and establish, and like that would be something that would be great, but I don't want to be so hooked, like have my claws hooked into it that it's like a need, because then it just becomes draining and you just experience burnout way too fast. And I don't know, I think I really like the concept of putting out there what resonates with you, to you know, share it to attract the right people who it's also going to resonate with, and everything else can just kind of fall off. Like, what people post is not meant for everyone. It's not going to resonate with everyone. The same way that, like, you can try a different food and not everyone's going to like that food, or you can like a different musician and not everyone's going to like that musician. Like, it's the same thing for this. And if you find people who you resonate with, it's a beautiful thing, but it's more so about, like, you need to be authentic in your expression to put it out there. And, you know, if you get, like, regardless of if you get validation externally or not, it doesn't matter because it's coming from you, and that's what matters.
It's kind of like saying you would rather have, you know, a tighter knit group of really close friends who know you than a huge circle of friends who you feel like you have these more, like, superficial topical relationships with. Like, I would rather have a smaller audience that resonates with what I'm saying or doing than this large audience that just sees everything I do and is like, okay, whatever, cool, like, see you when you say something else.
Well, it's like when people were really, really blowing up on TikTok when it started off, when they were doing trends, that's great, but if you don't, you know, connect with your audience on a level of where they get to know you and all you're doing is spitting out trend after trend after trend, it's like, who is this person? Like, maybe they were funny in that one that went viral, but now, like, what's your message? Like, why am I here?
What value do you bring to me?
Yeah, because, I mean, our energy is currency, right? Like, we're investing in what we're watching, what we're seeing, what we're listening to, and, you know, the value of whatever that is really important, I think, because you take what resonates and leave what doesn't, of course, but, you know, you pick up a little bit along the way, especially when we're on social media. We're kind of like in that trance of, like, just like scrolling, so you gotta kind of
doom scroll.
Yeah, but I mean, but realistically, I feel like you get into this almost subconscious, like, absorbent state, so you kind of have to be careful with what you're taking in.
Yes, because it's affecting you on a subconscious level. Like, there are a couple of people in my life that I, like, objectively, or I feel like it's objectively observe, like, the way that the social media that they consume is affecting them, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah,
like,
you have to really become aware of your subconscious beliefs and picking apart the beliefs and realizing where you got them from. I think a lot of them do come from social media.
They come from where you spend your time and energy and what you give your attention to. If you're spending an hour a day on social media, I feel like that's lowballing it, because a lot of people spend a lot more time on it. That, you know, is hugely impactful and starts to become part of this sort of, like, algorithm of your belief system, so to speak. Like, you are creating an algorithm within your own subconscious of, what do I believe, what's true, what's not true, what makes sense, what doesn't, like, what do I believe about myself and about the world. And it can either be a really positive contributing factor or a really negative one. And I think I am constantly talking about, like, the social media purge. I know we did, like, a whole episode about it last year, or was that 2 years ago? Spring cleaning your social media.
Oh, yeah, that was 2021.
I'm a big fan of that. You should do that again this year. I do it, like, probably twice a year. I will just go through and be like, okay, nope. I thought this one thing you posted was funny, but, like, for whatever reason. And it doesn't have to be that they're a bad person or, like, a bad content creator. It's just that for me, like, I'm much more about, like, getting to know someone's personality and, like, who they are than, like, what kind of content you're putting out. Like, I don't really care at the end of the day. If I resonate with you, like, as a person, then I'm going to be much more likely to engage with what you're posting.
Yeah. I love people who have a good message, and good is subjective because it's what I perceive to be good. Like, somebody else could see it and it doesn't resonate, but I don't know. I feel like a lot of the people I resonate with lately are, you know, people who kind of break out of their normal, you know, societal lifestyle, whether it be a family or it be, you know, a couple, and they go live an alternative lifestyle. Like, that resonates with me because that's what we're doing. And, you know, or a lot of mindfulness, spirituality stuff, or, you know, I always love the food too. Like, I've learned so many cool recipes. Like, and I think, like, that's where it's such a good tool.
Yes.
And we're circling back to this conversation that we had a few years ago, but it still holds so true. And, like, when you put the intention behind what you want to consume, I think that you can get so much benefit out of it, and you can learn from it. And but if you're just mindlessly, like, whatever, like, not filtering,
Yeah.
like, there's just so much stuff coming at us all the time.
Yeah.
Like, we are bombarded with information. I think that's why, like, at least for me, like, I feel so, like, anxious when I'm on for too long, because I'm like, oh my god, this is just so much information. Like, I'm totally overstimulated.
I set up the, like, timer thing, so after I've been on Instagram for, like, 20 minutes, literally 20 minutes, which isn't very long, but also it's 20 minutes. Do you know all the things you can do in 20 minutes?
You know, clean your room.
So many things can get done. You can make dinner in 20 minutes.
Cook, yep.
Yeah, you could go for a 20-minute walk outside. Like, there are a lot of things you can get done in 20 minutes, so that was kind of how I, like, set that parameter. Like, okay, 20 minutes doesn't feel like a lot, so I'm not going to feel guilty once the timer comes up and it says, like, hey, you've been on for 20 minutes, are you sure you want to stay here?
Right.
I'm going to be like, okay, it's been 20 minutes, but also, like, do I want to spend 20 more? Probably not. And so 9 times out of 10, because it'll say, like, you know, close the app or, like, not now or something, and I'm just like, okay, we're done. Like, unless I'm on it for a specific purpose, like I'm working on something or whatever, and it's like, hey, you've been here a while. I'm like, yeah, not now, because I'm doing working. Something. Yeah. But if it's just me, like, scrolling, and that's helped so much.
Yeah, it's almost just, it's like the pattern interrupt. It's like, hey,
and I am not a doom scroller. Like, this is not a thing, it's just not a habit of mine. I think the only occasion where I'll do it is, like, and I know this is a bad habit, but, like, if I wake up in the middle of the night and I just cannot get back to sleep, I'll be like, okay, I have to, like, find something to take like, maybe if I had, like, a weird dream or something, I'm like, okay, I need to take my mind off this for a little bit. Or, like, if I'm, like, eating dinner alone, for whatever reason, like, dinner, maybe because it's the only meal I, like, consistently eat, because lunch is, like, if I have time. It's not a good thing. But if you work from home, you understand. It's sort of like, oh, I looked up and it's 5:00. But if I'm eating dinner alone, I'll, like, pull out my phone and just, like, distract myself. Not because I'm like, oh, sad me, I'm eating dinner alone. It's just, like, something to do, I guess. And I tried, like, reading while I'm eating, but it's hard to do both things because you kind of need, like, 2 hands to hold a book.
Yeah.
And I am not a Kindle person.
I know. I always feel like health people, they always say to, like, not be on your phone while you're eating.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of it too. I do it a lot, but I've been trying to not as much lately because, you know, we're in our healing era to heal our digestion. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Does it help? I don't know. I haven't done, like, consistent research on it or anything, but I do feel proud of myself when I do.
Yeah. I will say, though, like, 9 times out of 10, I'm watching stories. I'm not scrolling.
Yeah, me too.
And that feels, like, a little more chill.
Yeah.
Like, it feels, like, not as, like, I don't know. I just let it, like, run.
Yeah.
I'm not, like, swiping anywhere or anything, but.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like those are the only, like, occasions where I will consistently or semi-consistently do it, so.
I know. I try to, like, it's so funny. It's like, why do we need to be entertained? Like, can I just sit with myself and have a meal?
Right.
And it's so funny because I didn't realize that was so challenging to do. It's like, I'm allowed to just sit here and just eat and not have to be entertained. Mm-hmm.
I find it's easier when I'm outside, though. Like, if I go and sit, like, on my patio and eat, like, I won't bring my phone out and I'll just, like, sit there and, like, look around or whatever. I'm literally like a dog, like, just looking around at the backyard. Like, ooh, interesting.
It's
squirrel.
Something about nature, though.
Yeah, it just makes you feel like it's, I don't know, it's, like, there's ambient noise around you. There's, like, cars or birds or something like that. And you're not just, like, sitting in the quiet of your kitchen, like, by yourself, just, like, staring at the wall. So, I don't think that's, like, a shameful thing. Like, if you're somebody who scrolls while you eat, like, it makes sense. It's, like, something to do. And we are all chronic multitaskers.
And we're all, like, too, I do it because I know I'm busy a lot of the other times. So I'm like, oh, I can just kind of.
Yeah, it's, like, your way to relax. I know, like, this is how we relax.
Kind of crazy.
Which is why I'm trying to be like, okay, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm willing to admit that I need boundaries. And, like, how do we create boundaries? We enforce them and we have accountability. So Instagram is holding me accountable to the thing that I said I wanted.
Yeah.
I said I wanted 20 minutes. You give me 20 minutes. And then after that, I'm like, okay, now I'm going to pull out a book. Or now I'm going to go for a walk. Or now I'm going to, clean the apartment. Whatever.
Yeah. I've been really, really, really trying to not scroll before bed, too.
Yes.
And in the morning. And I'm telling you, it makes such a difference. Is it my comfort zone? No, because I would so much rather do it, but I feel so much better when I don't. And I've actually been reading books and like journaling consistently. And I'm like, I haven't really read a lot of physical, tangible books in years because I just didn't. I know you're a lot better than that than me, but like
I don't think it's a better thing. It's just
more consistent than me.
Whatever.
But it's a big deal for me because I just didn't for so long. Yeah. I'm like, wow, this is great.
Yeah. Yeah, I like to read at night because I think
it's the best time.
Like so many, you can ask my mother that. She's laughing if she's listening to this right now. Like all of the time as a kid, I would fall asleep reading a book with like the light on, and she would come in and like turn the light off, and the book would be like on my face or like on the floor or something, and then she'd have to like guess where my page was because of course the bookmark didn't make it into the book, and then I'd be like, this was the wrong page. And I like doing that now. I think it's also easier to fall asleep. So the interesting thing about like my back and forth life is like when I'm in Orlando, I'm alone. Like, I'm not sleeping with someone. And when I'm here, like, Anthony are going to sleep at the same time, which I also think is a huge thing. Like, people who go to sleep at the same time as their partner, if they can.
Yeah.
Like, Anthony will work late, but I will wait up for him to get home. Or I will, like, fall asleep waiting, and then I'll wake up, depending how late it is. But most of the time, I can, like, wait up till he gets home. And even though I'm getting less sleep, like, less hours of sleep a night, than if I went to bed like 2 hours before he got home, I'm getting more productive sleep, I think, because it's not like if he would come to bed, like, would I wake up, you know, when he got home, whatever. I think it's like deeper, more productive sleep. Because again, like the last thing I'm doing before I go to sleep is like we're catching up from the day. Like we're having a conversation. No one's on their phone. Like maybe we have like Jimmy Fallon on in the background or something on the little like TV, but most of the time, no. And I feel like that's a much more, like, a much better, like, healthier way to, like, ease into sleeping.
Yeah, it's like a little ritual almost. Yeah.
And so it's not down. Like, right, it's not like, okay, I'm just going to lay here and doom scroll until I feel my eyes getting heavy. Like, we're going to have a conversation and maybe we're going to fall asleep while we're talking or something, but it feels, like, more natural. And I do sleep better.
Yeah.
And then, like, waking up to the same situation, like, having like a little like mumbly grumbly like groggy conversation like good morning, how did you sleep, that kind of thing, instead of like immediately, because I think my problem was not the falling asleep, it was the waking up. I wake up, I hear the alarm, I immediately grab my phone, I check my emails, I check any notifications that came through, I like immediately go into work mode. The second I wake up, I am like, who left what do I need to do, like do I need to pivot how I'm starting my day, whatever.
And that's just like so much for your nervous system to take in immediately. First thing in the morning.
And so now like when I'm with Anthony, it's sort of like, okay, like we wake up and talk to each other, and then like I'll lean over and grab my phone, you know, if we like are having a slower morning or it's a weekend or something, like I can lean over and grab my phone 15 minutes later, or like we're laying here for a little bit and then we get up in 20 minutes and then I look at my phone. But having that like interim time between like consciousness and like immediately filling that consciousness with all the things you need to do today, like right now, immediately, as soon as possible, it's a much less stressful start to the day. So I think that's huge.
Yeah, I've been trying to sleep with my phone in the other room.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, because Liz Moody,
I know.
She always talks about how like we're habitual creatures, right? So you have to kind of like set yourself up for success. And I'll grab it just without thinking. And I'm like, I messed it up. And that's like my one moment of the day where like I can set myself up for a day that's more grounded and less like plugged in. Or I'm just like, I don't know, I scroll. If I start the day by scrolling, I scroll more like in the long run. But anyway, she mentioned if you put your phone physically somewhere else, like you have to physically go get it, you're not going to get on it right away, because when it's so accessible, it's just so easy. And like whether or not you have the willpower for it, it doesn't really matter. It's just so easy. It's so like you don't even think twice
you're
about it.
You're mindlessly doing it. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, that helps me. I'm not saying I do it every day, but I do it a lot more now. And I think regardless of like whether it's good or bad, like I don't even care. It's just like, do I feel proud of myself? Do I feel good doing it? Yes. So I do. And it's like I feel so good when I get to like wake up in the morning and scroll, but it's like that dopamine hit. It's almost like a shallower feeling good versus like if I give myself space and time, it's like a fulfilling feeling good.
See,
you know I
feel like I love the mornings, like on a Saturday or Sunday morning when I wake up and I'm like, I don't have to look at this. It is like a joy. It is like a deeper than dopamine, right? It's like this like resonant peace that's like just hangs over me. And so on like the weekday mornings when I'm like, oh, I should probably look at my phone, like instant stress response, right? Yeah. So I think for
that's
me,
the difference with work versus not having work notifications on there.
And I think
first thing in the morning,
like it's a good thing though, because everything is on my personal phone. It also, the problem is like I have a harder time separating my personal life from my work life. But the positive side of that is that I also can just say like I don't want any of it right now, and I can just completely unplug.
Yeah.
I've tried to do this because I remember when that podcast episode came out and it was like one of her sleep ones or whatever, and she talked about putting your phone, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And I did it for like a week.
Yeah.
And I slept with my phone in the other room, but again, it was like the work thing that got me. I was like, I feel weird like waking up and doing all these things before I check. Like, I don't know. I need to try it again, but
I think it's something that I implement not once in a while, but I'll go in phases with it, and I don't like make myself wrong if I don't do it every day. It's like, okay, I'm kind of feeling like I need to be unplugged more now.
Like listening to the cues.
It's just so easy to like lay it, like you're so comfy in bed, and you're just like, I could just lay here and just scroll, and it's like, okay, an hour's gone by, and I could have done so much.
Yeah. I think that, it's just the like, what are you the most prone to? Like my Achilles heel is like not being able to not check my phone. And a lot of people, theirs is just like defaulting to scrolling.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think finding spaces to be a little more intentional about it, whether that's keeping your phone out of the room at night
it's
or
like what works for you. Like it's not, that's the thing. I think everyone's looking for a quick tip and like this is going to solve all my problems and make me not feel so anxious and make me not feel so, like, bombarded with information. But, like, there really is no one thing to do. You can just kind of experiment and see what makes a difference for you. And, like, clearly, like, I have things that work for me. Kristen has things that work for her. Like, it's just different methods. And I think that's kind of cool because we don't have to do one set thing.
And I think it's different spaces too. Like if you feel like there's a space in your life that you're not being fully present in, like trying to like when Anthony and I go out to dinner, we put both of our phones in my purse. Yeah. And they just stay there. Unless we need to like show someone something or like we need to look something up for some reason, like in the purse. Mm-hmm. And we've subconsciously started like in the evenings, if we're going to like watch a movie or something, leaving them like upstairs or in a different room. Yeah. I don't think it was even a spoken thing. It just started happening. And I'm like, I like that. Because why do I need my phone on me at 10 o'clock at night? Like I don't.
Yeah.
For any reason.
Literally why.
No one should be talking to me right now.
And it's, I mean, just with all of the, like scientifically healing wise, like it's so important to unplug, and I know I keep, like, saying these things. I'm like, I'm not good at this. Because I just think we all kind of, like, struggle with it in our own way.
No one needs a perfect example. They just need the example of someone who's trying.
I mean, it's apparently and scientifically and from what I've experimented with, it's so much better to not have that light in your eyes. Like, for, what is it, like 30 minutes, an hour, maybe longer before you go to sleep. Yeah. And it's true, like, I sleep so much better.
Like, the stimulation, too, right? Because there's a big difference between, like, laying on the couch with someone, like, sharing a bowl of popcorn and watching a movie versus, like, every 5 seconds, like, new thing. Like, that is so much for your brain to process. Whereas, like, watching a movie, it's like, okay, one plot is carrying out.
I'm following the story.
Over the course of 2 hours. Yeah. Like, this is a lot more low-key. Yeah. So, I think... Because I think it's unrealistic for some people to think, like, okay, for 2 hours before bed, I'm just not going to look at any screen at all. Like,
right. I know. Because, TV, movies. I'm like, well, I would love to just, like, take a bath and read and whatever. Yeah. And, like, some nights, that's a thing. That can happen, you know? But, I mean, a lot of nights I want to watch the new episodes of Ted Lasso or, you know, do something. Or, like, I actually really love to listen to meditations and stuff on my phone, which is one reason I do like to sleep with my phone in my room, because I like to fall asleep to those. Yeah. So it's a prime brain rewiring time when you're falling asleep. So I don't know. I think it's just a day-by-day thing, but there's just so many different approaches you can take.
I think the, like, underlying question is, like, okay, how can I, like, show up more fully today, like, in my life?
What do I need today?
For yourself, for the people around you, whatever. Like, how can I just be more in the day?
Yeah.
And the number one way to be more in your reality is to not spend time consuming somebody else's reality.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I don't know. We went down a little rabbit hole about that one.
I know. There's a lot to sift through there.
Yeah.
So.
No, I'm good. And I feel like that has evolved since, like, the original conversation. Like, there's more insight now. Also, since 2 years ago, like, things have changed.
Yeah.
You know? It's worth revisiting, like, not just to measure your growth, because, like you said, like, you can't make yourself wrong for not, like, being perfect about anything, but just to say, like, okay.
And what is perfect
anyway?
Right.
How has this changed? How have I changed? How can I adapt this to, like, meet me where I'm at now?
Yeah.
Which is not the same as it was 2 years ago.
And we can only show up the way that we can in that moment with what we know and what we've learned and, you know, with where we're at. And that's why, you know, when you look back on who you were 2 years ago or 10 years ago or whatever, you can't make that version of you wrong because you were doing your best with what you knew at the time.
Yep.
And that's really freeing to know.
Yeah. It is really freeing. It can be really freeing or really, like, crippling if you haven't gotten to that place. Because if you're constantly, like, punishing yourself for your past, you're never going to get anywhere with that ball and chain attached to your ankle.
Exactly. But that's why...
Don't be your own parole officer.
Right. That's why the mindset work is so important. Because you can... I mean... Two people can be faced with the same situation, but the way that they think about it can cause a completely, entirely different result. And yeah, I heard this thing this morning about how when you're so focused on the past, like, that kind of puts you into a depression. And if you're focused on the future, it puts you into an anxiety state, which, at least for me, that's noticeably been a true pattern. Which is why I just... like, being present, and I know I keep saying this, and this has been such a big thing, especially after last year, I'm just like, being present is the whole key to life. Like, I will swear by that, because it's the only thing that we have, and the past and the future literally only exist in your mind. Like, they don't actually exist right now. And I've been noticing myself, just when I get into these waves of feeling one way or the other, I do a check-in of, okay, how do I feel right now? If the only thing that existed is, like, the scenario right now, am I okay? And I'd say 99.9% of the time, I'm good. Like, you really only need oxygen and food. And as long as those things are taken care of, and, you know, shelter is a nice bonus, like, anything that's survival.
Yeah.
Anything in addition to that is, like, a bonus.
Redefining what, like, okay is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've put too much pressure on myself. Like, I don't have everything figured out. Everything is not okay. But, like, it actually is. Like, I want those things, but I don't need those things to live. It's detaching kind of from the ego mind of wanting to be perfect and wanting to have everything lined up in a certain way.
Control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a big lesson.
Yeah, and it's when you have to constantly learn. Ooh, the swallowing the healing is not linear pill is so hard, but, like, also to say that, like, a lesson learned is a lesson learned. Like, well, I learned my lesson, so I'm never going to do that again. And I think we get this from childhood, right? Like, did you learn your lesson? Are you ever going to hit that person again? Like, no, I'm sorry. Okay, move on. Maybe you're never going to hit someone again, like, on the playground, but maybe there are bigger, harder lessons that come at you that you have to relearn over and over. And a lot of them are the, like, sort of more existential things that come up. Like, I have to keep reminding myself that, like, I don't have to be treated this way when you go from relationship to relationship and you allow that to happen. Or I have to remind myself that, like, I can set boundaries and enforce them, and the people that are meant to stay in my life will, that kind of thing. Like, we have to relearn that. And it's not because we're stupid, it's because
we're human.
We're human, yeah. And yeah, I think not making yourself wrong, like, a little bit of grace. We're not sitting here being preachy. We're sitting here saying, like, hey, we're human too. We struggle with all of these things.
Oh my God,
we wouldn't be talking about them if they weren't hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so interesting. And I think once I learned this, it clicked for me so much. But, like, looking back at your life, do you notice that you have similar patterns that you kind of do over and over and over again, but they're dressed in a different cloak.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same underlying theme or the same concept or the same type of person or the same type of scenario, but it's just dressed differently.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's interesting. Like, that's where my healing is. And it's the universe is trying to get a message to me, and it's just, I just noticed that that's the same thing from the last time, and the last time, the last time. And I feel like once you break the cycle, or you become aware and then you break the cycles, that's when you can start making the changes.
Yeah.
But it's just so interesting. Like, I used to do the same thing over and over and over again. Like, you know, I would date similar types of people.
Yeah, I think that's a huge one.
My one pattern that I would notice is I would date someone who, like, had just gotten out of a relationship over and over and over again. And I never noticed it until at a certain point, and I was like, oh my God, why do I do that? And then, you know, realizing the underlying belief was like something about, you know, deserving or worthiness or whatever it was. Like, oh, maybe I'm not worthy of somebody like loving me for me. Like, they need to just be rebounding to actually like me, like something like that. And it's
you need to get them while they're down.
Yeah. Like, which is just, it's such a weird subconscious thing. It's like, oh my God, I'm aware of that now, and like shined light on it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so, like, that's why I love the subconscious reprogramming stuff, because that was the biggest lesson for me, was this exact example. I was like, oh my God, I did that. But then once I became aware of that, implemented new beliefs, developed like deservingness and worthiness around that concept, then somebody came in who was not in that scenario, and the pattern was broken, and now I'm very happy. So like, it's so possible. But that's just one example, but it can be anything. It can be like jobs is another big one that happens for people, or
getting cheated on, I think, is a big one.
Yeah.
Like, I keep dating people who are cheating on me. Is it me? I mean, maybe. It could be.
But you know what? It's not you. It's because your thoughts are not you, but it could be like your subconscious beliefs.
Right.
And
it could be, I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah.
I don't actually mean that it's you. I've also been cheated on a lot, so it's not
it's
you.
It's a subconscious thing.
It's a subconscious belief that is manifesting itself.
Yeah.
And
it can be healed.
Yeah. I think I realized I was like constantly setting myself up to kind of like justify everyone else's actions. Like, they're dealing with something, or they're broken in this way, or they just blah blah blah, or I'm not being enough, whatever, and sort of like making myself the common denominator or the problem, or like I'm not being enough this, I'm not doing this,
and subconsciously
whatever.
You were probably seeking people who fit that narrative in your head.
Yeah.
Because it was like it's weird, but it's like a comfort zone almost.
Yeah.
Because you've done it so many times.
Like, I know what this looks like.
Yeah.
I've been here before.
Yeah.
I know how to get around. I don't need a map.
Right.
Yeah. So and I think it's like, you know, some subconscious like trust issues. Like, I end up with untrustworthy people because I have been taught that people aren't trustworthy. So, okay, well, if everyone's not trustworthy, then I might as well know what I'm getting into beforehand rather than being blindsided. I wanted like all the cards on the table.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, now to be in a relationship with somebody who's like, nope, I just really want to be with you. I'm like, but why?
Well, I think, though, like, at least from my perspective, I don't think it was really Anthony specifically who broke you out of that. I think it was something within you that shifted before he came into your life.
Which I think was the key
to
why this is working.
I think that is the only key. And I think it's the lesson. It's like, everything comes from within us. It's not about our external reality. Because you can have, I keep saying this, but you can have every resource in the world, but it's a matter of what you do with it. You know what I mean? So, like, you could have, like, 20 guys at your doorstep who are fully committed to you, but, like, if internally you're like, I'm not, I don't want that.
Right.
Like, you're not going to be able to accept that and cultivate that relationship. So, I mean, I saw you do, and even if, you know, consciously you're still like, oh my gosh, like, why do I deserve all these beautiful things? But it's like, subconsciously you at least got to a point where you're like, no, like, I do deserve these things, and like, it is possible, and you've moved into that, and he kind of matched that same frequency with
Yeah.
you. And I think that's
Yeah.
amazing, and we love it. And I love it for you because it's come full circle now. The pattern was broken.
Thank you. It really has been. I feel like there is just absolutely no going back to that other person who, like, believes so little of herself. And it's not to say that, like, everything is healed and magical and wonderful and I never have doubts or insecurities, because that's not true. But I think, that like, singleness period was really important because it was time for me to focus on me. And when you start to, like, really enjoy your own company and celebrate these, like, quirks about who you are, you really stop looking for someone else to validate them in you. I got to this point where I was like, I like who I am. I like me. I like spending time with me. I don't need someone to fill some void or save me from something or fix something in me. It wasn't that I needed a guy to come along and, like, heal what the other guys broke. Like, I already did that, and you validated that work that I did by showing up at the right perfect time and saying, like, I see you for who you are. I see you for who you've been, where you've come from. Because also Anthony and I are going on, like, a decade of knowing each other. He was like, I think it's really cool that I knew you, like, before you went and had your Disney journey. Like, I saw you then when you were so excited and, like young and had these, like, ideas of what life was going to be. And then it's been really cool to see how, like, everything has happened and, like, what has come from that. And I was like, thank you for appreciating my journey that I've been on. That's really cool to have someone, like, validate that, you know. Even though, like, that meant the timing of us was delayed, like, we both appreciate the fact that it was. Right, because it needed, like, all of those things needed to happen. But I really think that it's so true that, you know, it's not that somebody else comes along and fixes everything in you. Like, you already had it in you. To do all of that, to accomplish that, and to really just, like, kind of step into the next version of you, because I feel like those versions of me made sense for that time. And this version of me makes sense for this one, and I'm gonna look back on this in 5 years and be like, oh, poor naive girl.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, you couldn't be who you are now 5 years ago, and you couldn't be who you are in 10 years now. Like, it's just, you know, it's the concept of your past self and your future self, and we're all, you know, the same person because we're always existing in the present, but you can't really be your future self without being your present self. And you know, you can start to hack into that future self and start choosing thoughts that your future self would think, or taking actions that your future self would take, even if they're small and little things that would add up. And you can, you know, you'll meet yourself at some point. But that's, again, like, reflecting back on going through all the photos through all that past decade. It's just like, I did everything that I could do at the time, and that's enough. And I'm grateful for her because she got us to where we are today. Like, every misstep in a relationship, every, like, health and healing obstacle we faced, every job we had, every, you know, apartment we moved into, like, it got us to the point we are at today. And that's so cool. And the point I'm at today is going to get me to where I'm at in the future. And, like, I don't know, I love being me. I love my journey, and I want to continue to create the life that I love. And the only person who's going to create a life that I love is going to be me. And that's it. And the universe also, God also.
You're really just describing all the qualities of, like, a good partner. Someone who validates where you've been and, like, sees you where you are now and, like, celebrates and is excited to be with you where you're going. And you have to be that, like, good partner to yourself. Before you can, A, be a good partner to somebody else, but also, like, attract the right partner who's going to see and do all of those things for you. Seeing where you've been, celebrating where you've been, saying, like, I love that person, whether or not your partner knew you then or not, right? Like, Steven didn't know you then, but he loves who you were. You love who you were, but, like, the only person who's going to create, like, the future that you will love is you. And so he just gets to come along for the ride.
I know, and I'm so glad. We have so much fun.
I love it.
Well, I feel like that's a great stopping point.
I know,
for today's
I do too.
episode.
It's like the sun came out and we just started like talking about these
revelations.
Yeah.
I liked this episode too because I think we touched back on some episodes that we recorded in 2021, like we mentioned before.
Without meaning to.
Yeah, like a couple of them.
Yeah.
The dating one and the
social media.
The social media one.
Just like what you feed your consciousness, really.
Yeah. Oh, it's so important.
It is.
I feel like that's becoming a really main pillar of what we're talking about on Rediscover because I'm very immersed in learning about that this year, and I think that it's never going to be something that I stop enjoying learning about, and
yeah,
I hope that we all can pick up something along the way.
Yeah.
I hope that this is a really good podcast for everyone's subconscious, and we get to pick up some really
it's a good springtime one too.
Beautiful beliefs. Yeah.
Like a good just sort of like
a spring clean.
Yeah, but not more than like a clean, like a realignment, like an okay. The flowers are like peeking through the. What am I cultivating in this season?
Yeah.
I feel like springtime is like that's a good word for springtime. Cultivating.
Yeah, I love that word.
It's a good one. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. Warm weather is coming.
It is very exciting, but
yeah.
Right. Okay. Well.
Cool. Thanks, guys. What do we got coming down the pipeline?
Well, let's see. So it's April now. And yeah.
It's going to be May.
It's going to be May soon. My 30th birthday is next month. We'll have to like reflect on all that. That'll be a really interesting one to do. I'm going
to celebrate your birthday before you go.
Yes.
Oh,
so
you didn't even talk about where you're going.
I know. So we are planning, we're going to do a little mini nomad life for all of May and all of June. And we're going to Costa Rica.
Woo, woo!
I'm so thrilled and excited that we pieced it all together. So that is on the docket. So be on the lookout for all the fun Costa Rica posts. I just want to be
already thinking about like blue water.
Yes. I want to be outside in nature, near waterfalls, see some wildlife. Like that's that Costa Rica's been one of my top bucket list places for years, probably since I was in like middle school, and I just found out it existed. I'm really excited about it, so I can't wait to see what it's like firsthand, and I'll report back, of course.
So excited.
And
well, we're gonna have to record while you're there.
Yeah, we will. Oh, yeah. That'll be so fun.
What's the time difference?
I think it's either like an hour or the same. I don't know. Yeah, it should be an easy one.
Easy.
But yeah, so that's coming up. My birthday, Costa Rica.
So we'll be together one more time before that happens.
Yep.
And then
yeah,
we'll have to record the June episode while you're in Costa Rica.
Oh my gosh.
Woo-woo.
Yeah,
it'll be good.
What's up coming up for you?
Vacation in 1 week.
Yay.
When does this episode come out?
In a few days, actually.
Oh yeah, wow. Okay. Yeah, like on Tuesday. So yeah, in like a week. Anthony and I are going on our first real vacation together.
Yay.
Which will be so fun. I know. It's
about time.
I know.
These two hard workers.
I know. I was like, I've never taken this much PTO in my life. Like, I actually don't think I've had this many consecutive days off from work and or school since, like, high school.
Oh, my gosh. Well, enjoy it.
I don't know what to do with myself at all. But we've both been working really, really hard to, like, be able to make this possible for us to, like, go off the grid. And, yeah, I'm planning to, like, unplug. He's going to come to Orlando, and we're going to unplug.
Yay.
And, yeah, I'd like to capture moments but not post them. So they'll get posted later. And I'm very excited about that.
For a long time from now.
That's I know, right? I like that we're being realistic about this. It's going to be fun, though. I'm really looking forward to just, like, spending time and outside of our normal environment, which will be good.
Yeah.
And then just, yeah, I mean, I'm just looking forward to springtime and warmer weather, and especially here, warmer weather. And
it's so beautiful here when the weather's nice.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to some, like, Buffalo summertime, so I can, like, I can taste it. It's almost there.
I know. It was, like, 50-something degrees today. It was very exciting.
I was like, oh, we can go just photosynthesize for a few moments.
I know. I just want to go sit outside at a brewery.
Oh, that sounds so fun. Well, we'll do that soon when, before you go to Costa Rica, we'll have a little double date.
Can't wait.
But, so yeah, that's kind of all I've got. I will be here in America, I think, for May and June, unless something bizarre is about to happen.
Unless you come visit me.
Oh my gosh. I'll talk to Anthony. That sounds great. But
anyway, thanks for listening, everyone. We hope you enjoyed just being part of our conversation today. I feel like this was just so fun and well-rounded, and we just talked about a lot of things. And
whatever's coming up.
Whatever's on the mind
coming
right
up
now.
What is it? Coming up roses? Daisies? I don't know. I'll just like some flowers at this point. Give me the flowers.
Yes, all of them. But, all right, well, happy April. Happy spring. We'll talk to you next month in May.
Summer is coming.
It's coming. Yeah. It's very exciting.
It's going to be great.
But thanks for rediscovering with us today.
Oh, that was cute.
Thanks.
I really liked that.
Thank you.
Sprinkle that in.
Yeah. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye. That was cute. Outro, take 1.
Thank you for joining us. Oh, hold on.
Outro, take 2.
Thank you for joining us for today's episode of Rediscover.
If you haven't already subscribed, hit that button and join the Rediscover fam.
Come back on the first Tuesday of every month for brand new episodes.
If you're like us and you have opinions about everything, leave us a review on Apple or Spotify. Your positivity inspires our creativity, and we love hearing from you.
Follow us on Instagram at JessicaFaye508 and positively.Kristen.
And check out Jess's blog at theroadjesstraveled with 1l.com.
Until next time, we'll talk to you soon.
Bye!